Tonight, MacIntyre Undercover infiltrates the world of Britain's most vicious football hooligans. A world dominated by a small group of hardcore thugs who organize violence through a sophisticated network, who travel the world bringing shame to their country, and who are always one step ahead of the police. It's a journey which starts on the terraces of some of the biggest clubs and ends in bloody violence that could stop England hosting the World Cup. My name is Donal MacIntyre, and I'm a BBC reporter. I work undercover, and for the last 18 months I've lived 5 different lives, from a care worker to a fashion photographer. My aim has been to expose worlds that ordinary journalism couldn't reveal. In all of them, my only protection has been my cover story and my secret camera. My most dangerous assignment was to uncover the hidden world of organised football violence. England has the worst record of football violence in Europe, and it's on the increase. Last year, arrests for serious assaults almost doubled. These days, violence is likely to be more vicious, more likely to involve weapons and to end in serious injury than ever before. Police may have clamped down hard on disturbances at football grounds, but determined hooligans have responded with better planning and by moving their fighting onto the streets. The only way to get to the ringleaders who orchestrate the violence is to use exceptional methods. I spent over a year of my life infiltrating one of the country's most notorious gangs. The way violence is organized may have changed, but one thing remains the same. It's still just a hardcore few who spoil things for the majority of decent fans.
The child we were with was absolutely terrified. He's come home, put his hat and scarf down and told his mum that he doesn't want to go to football again.
Oh, that's awful. How old is he?
He's 7.
This government, like those before it, is looking for new ways to deal with the problem.
There are clearly well-organised criminal thugs who have sophisticated methods of communicating with each other. Small number.
I've come to hear government ministers launch a consultation paper that looks at ways to deal with hooligans by targeting the ringleaders.
These are not mindless individuals who don't have jobs, but somehow have money and a lot of time on their hands. The people have got jobs, you know. There's a whole, I mean, the police can tell you the sort of occupations, and it covers everything you can think of.
They come from a wide cross-section of society. Some of them we know are actually skilled people who are, you know, employed in good jobs. Other people are and have been unemployed people. What seems to bind them together, and one consistent factor, is their willingness and their ability to actually orchestrate and arrange violence.
This is a sheet from police files. It's a rogues gallery of some of the most dangerous hooligans in the country. And what is more remarkable, they all follow one team. Collectively, they are known as the Chelsea Headhunters. The files reveal an intimidating record of violence.
The vehicles were searched and found to contain an assortment of weapons. As we see another passenger on the train, the group were arming themselves with distress flares. A Chelsea City police officer, the PC, was slashed across the neck. It was not used. The Chelsea were arrested but later released.
The government may be giving new powers to the police to deal with people like this, but what exactly are they up against? It's going to be my task to show for the first time on television just how organised their violence is and how they avoid the clutches of the law. But to do that, I have to get to know them, to act like their friend, to make it seem like I'm one of their own. In the files, one man's name keeps cropping up, Andy Frayne. He's one of the country's most feared hooligans. The police have been after him for years, and with some success. He's got over 30 convictions, but has only ever been given short sentences, and after every one, he's soon been back on the street organising football violence. His nickname is Nightmare.
Hello Dave, it's Nightmare. Alright, are you on the road yet?
Over the next year, I was to get to know Andy Frayne, and he was to tell me how he once tried to kill a policeman by slashing his throat.
We was laughing at him. We was laughing at him. He said, "You can't do that. I'm an off-duty policeman." I said, "Shut up. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. Nobody can see us." His bird just run off hysterical.
He's the kind of guy that will lead a mob on a rampage, and people, particularly young kids, are prepared to follow him because of his reputation. And that reputation, the nickname Nightmare, is very well deserved and earned.
The police files linked the name of Andy Frayne to that of another hooligan, Jason Mariner. Mariner has been a hooligan since he was a teenager. Like many hooligans, Jason believes the police are watching him. The truth is, they are. This makes Jason very suspicious of strangers. But I've got to get to know him if I'm going to get to the heart of the Headhunters.
They need larger numbers, but the fact that you're talking about a tight, close-knit group makes it very difficult to get in amongst them.
How would they react if they were to find out that one of their number was an infiltrator or a journalist?
I think if one of these groups found out that somebody had infiltrated them over a period of time, that they would react badly to that. And I think I would strongly make the point that these people are not just mindless thugs, that they are sophisticated, organised criminal groups, and I suspect that they have long memories.
My journey begins. I need to get a taste of how hooligans look and behave close up, and the only place to be in the summer of '98 is France and the World Cup. Many loyal fans have travelled across. I'm wondering if any of the hooligans will turn up. The atmosphere is tense. I try to fit in, but I feel like a real novice. And I've got to learn how to smoke properly. And then suddenly, I'm in the middle of it.
Okay, let's pull back, pull back.
There are bottles flying, and it's kicked off again. The fight started on Friday night. Saturday night has continued on into match day. The violence that has overtaken the city with English hooliganism has continued. Now it's a full riot with bottles and flares being thrown.
Even before England's first match, the country's reputation is tarnished. But who's behind the violence? And are there any Chelsea hooligans here? I put on a covert camera and go looking. And in a bar, I find a group of Chelsea fans. In the middle of them, holding court in a bright yellow jacket, I spot a headhunter. I instantly recognize his face from the police files. He and his friends are casually snorting cocaine off the tables. It's clear that his violence isn't being fueled by alcohol alone. His name is Stuart Glass, leading headhunter and friend of Jason Mariner. Glass is here in spite of a huge operation by police to keep people like him out of France. To avoid detection, he came via Holland and Belgium. I've managed to get near some of the Chelsea hooligans, such as this man in the green hat, but I'm still a long way from being part of their inner circle.
And a red card for David Beckham. Batty's mind, don't join them. It's Batty, and he has joined them, and England again are out of the World Cup.
As England exit from the World Cup, the hooligans see one last chance for some violence. For years we've been told that hooliganism has been eliminated, but this explosion of violence shows that it's alive and well, a constant presence just below the surface of the English game. For the government, with its eyes on the 2006 World Cup bid, this violence raises the problem of convincing the world that English hooliganism can ever be contained. For me, it's a shocking reminder of what these gangs are capable of. On my return to England, I face the task of befriending the Headhunters. Can I really convince them that I'm one of their own? Hampton Hill, a pleasant suburb of West London. An unlikely place to go looking for a hardened thug, but this is where Jason Mariner lives. He's a well-known figure in the pubs and bars. The locals think he's just a regular guy, but I still don't know exactly where he lives. While I try to find out, all I can do is hang around the streets in the hope of bumping into him. I hear he keeps strange hours and I keep my watch around the clock. Any spare time is spent learning the history of Chelsea Football Club. I'll need to know my stuff if I'm going to make it as a headhunter. August, the first home match of the season for Chelsea. Football these days is a family game, and the Chelsea fans have high hopes for the coming season. It's time to put my newfound knowledge to the test. Amongst the fans, I get my first glimpse of Jason Mariner harassing a man in a phone box. He's a committed Chelsea supporter and has a season ticket. But he's also committed to violence, which for him is just as important. I can see him across the road, but I still have no way of getting close to him. But then a vital breakthrough. My surveillance of Hampton Hill pays off, and I find out where he lives. Chelsea Close, I should have guessed. I hire a flash car, hoping that when I run into him, he'll be impressed. And like Jason, I dress in designer clothes and make sure I'm seen. His flat has the same number as his favorite position on the football field. I watch it to try and work out if he has a daily routine. But then another breakthrough. A flat in Jason's block comes up for rent and I move in. I hire a suitably large van and deliver a leather sofa with the help of my colleague Paul. I've just moved into Jason's block of flats, and he doesn't know it, but I'm about to move into his life. Now it's time to take the ultimate step. It's drastic but necessary if Jason is to take me seriously.
Ladies and gentlemen, we shall soon be arriving at Reading.
I've still not tracked down Andy Frayne. I learned that he lives in Reading, and a trip to the local library revealed some more details about him.
Eight in dock after attack on supporter, 7 accused after West Ham fan seriously hurt. Reading magistrates heard that at around 7:35 p.m. at a Reading pub, the Flyer Circle was a violent incident involving Chelsea supporters and West Ham United fans. West Ham supporter Barry Lewis received a 4.5-inch knife wound from his ear to beneath his chin, requiring 68 stitches. A tendon in his arm was also severed, and he needed 300 butterfly stitches. Among those charged with the alleged offences include Reading man Andrew Frayne, 32, of Wensley Road. Other defendants are Vincent Drake from London, twin brothers David Sim and Ian Sim, Anthony Cavalli, and Mark Alloway from Slough. These are all headhunters, and 6 of the 7 were all remanded in custody.
Later reports revealed that the charges were dropped when the victim failed to turn up at court to give evidence. I go off in search of Frayne in the Reading pubs where he is known to drink, including the one in which the stabbing I just read about took place. But for the moment, Andy Frayne is nowhere to be found. In Hampton Hill, Jason and I are on nodding terms. He now knows I'm his neighbour. I try to bump into him at every opportunity. I meet him at one of his frequent haunts, the local McDonald's. It's a cold day, but I wear a t-shirt to show off my tattoo.
Yeah, all right, mate. Yeah, not too bad, yeah. I mean, be fair, he's got fucking woolly hat on and all that, and a pair of sunglasses. He got the Chelsea tattoo done.
Oh, years ago, Rambo.
It's done the trick, but he doesn't seem very impressed. Now he knows I follow Chelsea, the next step is to meet in one of his favourite pubs near the Chelsea ground. I choose the day of the Chelsea match against Aston Villa, but the pitch is flooded and the game has been called off.
Game's off. Game's off. I'll just switch for there, mate. It's off, isn't it?
Yeah, it's off. Yeah.
I'm wearing my covert camera, not that easy in a packed-out pub, and I don't know where Jason is.
Oh, come here. Where is he? Okay, well, let me go over first.
See ya.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Jay, how you doing, man?
Jason may be ignoring me, but I'm close enough to record his conversations.
They won't say about that. Villa. They're only been 40-handed.
The match is off, but Jason is still keen on picking a fight if he can.
I want to fucking have a walk about, see if they're about them.
I'm off of Victoria, meet twins. Right, Galloway's fucking late again. No, he's light.
I'll tell you something.
Yeah.
No, you know what it is, though. He'll go over there. He'll be over there, Victoria.
I bet Phil is scarpered.
No, they're about. Fulham Old Billboard and called one of our lads. Said they're like...
Where are they?
No, they go over Victoria, but all our my lot over Victoria, they get smashed to pieces. Smashed to bits.
I'll tell you something.
Jason is tolerating me, but only just. But my persistence is about to pay off. He's talking about Chelsea's next big European match in Copenhagen.
Yeah, I'm going over. Do you want to go EasyJet?
No, I am, mate.
You want to go EasyJet?
This trip to Copenhagen could be crucial. It will be my first real chance to get to know Jason as a hooligan. Jason runs a tyre business near his West London home, and I visit him there to see if I can find out more about his travel plans for the match. The authorities are trying harder to prevent the hooligans from travelling, and I want to learn how he avoids being stopped by the police.
Can't get back on the Friday. I fucking phoned them yesterday. No flights back on the fucking Friday. And I really I need to come back on the Friday. You know what I mean? Like, it's, they're based in Belgium, see?
The first thing I discover is that he only uses travel agents based abroad. I also learn he never takes a direct route to a game in an attempt to throw the police off his trail.
Last time I went there, I flew to Hamburg and got a train back from, and got a train to Copenhagen. So I don't know now, fucking I'm gutted. I've done my bollocks last year, you know what I mean? I went to every fucking single one and do you know what I mean?
Takes
you
a
know,
big
I was
fucking
out
month.
in fucking Slovakias and all that bollocks. And,
Jesus.
do you know what I mean? And, you know, I've done them all. Sweden, Italy, Spain, I've done them all. I ain't been that far, I didn't even bother with the other one, I didn't want to go. But I do want to go to this one, you know what I mean? 9:55, 5 to 10, Copenhagen, 11:30. Now, if I'd fucking known last week, if I'd known last week, we could have done it, booked up, done. And then on the Friday, it was come home at 12:15, Brussels at 10 to 2, Heathrow, 20 to 3, so obviously you get your time back. Happy days.
By the end of the meeting, we've persuaded Jason to let my colleague Paul travel with him. Jason usually travels alone to avoid attracting the attention of the authorities. Weeks spent hanging around the pubs in Reading finally pay off when I meet someone who knows Andy Frayne. His name is Danny Walford. He's only 21, but already he's a hardened hooligan. I spend as much time in his company as I can, but like many hooligans, he's suspicious of those who he doesn't know well.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to funny, mate. I don't even know you next door, really. You used to be old Bill. Nah, I ain't been daft, you know what I mean? No offence. No offence, yeah.
I become Danny's drinking partner. Danny and his friends look up to the older hooligans like Frayne and Mariner, and Danny seeks them out just as I've sought him out. He sees the respect and the fear they command, and he wants a piece of the action. He's one of a new generation of hooligans. Copenhagen, and it's my big chance to get close to Jason Mariner.
All right, geezers. All right, good trip. Well, yeah. Sure.
Jason is on edge. He's worried about being spotted by the police, who he knows will be looking for him.
Yes.
Let's get a taxi out this way. We get a beer first. What do you think?
Get a taxi out of here in case there's Chelsea I'll build.
Okay, let's go. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Jason is going to be my guide to the English hooligan abroad.
All I want to do, really, is look with a couple of few English and then try and see what the ticket situation is.
Yeah.
And Jason knows just the place.
Yeah, you can go to any city in the land.
We are surrounded by Chelsea supporters, and Jason is in his element. If I needed further proof that Jason had taken me under his wing, I got it.
Says they're not being known. But when you get a little place like Ants Hill, first time I ever see you two, I thought they're at it. First thing.
By at it, Jason meant I was up to no good. Jason knows it's my first time abroad with Chelsea, and he wants to tell me about the history of the Headhunters.
I like the way she sees it.
His brother, when they done the first football race, they done the first football race 10 years ago, man. His brother got 10 years for football races. He got £100,000 compensation for fabricated evidence. He done 4 years. His brother was well-known kidnapper. His other brother just got killed not long ago with an Emma. No, big row, yeah.
Jason was talking about the so-called own goal trials, the result of the last big attempt by the police to target hooligans with an undercover operation back in the 1980s. Some Chelsea fans were jailed, but then set free with substantial compensation payments after the police evidence was questioned. The cost was enormous and put an end to large-scale police undercover operations of that kind. Those freed included Terry Last, another of Jason's close friends.
Terry Last was a solicitor's clerk. He got £180,000. My mate, Vince Drake, right? He got 75 grand or so.
Jason is now in full flow and tells me other stories.
His brother, you read any football books, anything like that, is probably the most well-known football star you'll ever come across. Lives in the Philippines.
His stories are cut short only by his enthusiasm for the task in hand.
Here we go, we come here to have a war!
I I don't want to have a war, but I can't say goodbye to Jason as we have tickets together for the game. Inside the ground, I stick as close as possible to Jason so that all the other Chelsea assume that I am his friend. There is plenty for Jason to be pleased about as his team scored the winner. But even now, I'm not sure I'm cheering convincingly. Halfway through the match, Jason and his friends produce an offensive banner. Their aim is to cause trouble, and they succeed. But in true Mariner style, it's the man standing next to Jason who gets arrested, while Jason stays to wallow in the glory. I'm beginning to understand what hooliganism is all about. For a few brief moments, Jason is king of the terraces. The Danish police sensed that arresting Jason would only cause more trouble. The next day, the headlines said it all. Jason starts making Nazi salutes in an attempt to wind up the Stuarts. But Jason's fascist salute is more than just show. I've learned that he has close links with the far-right group, Combat 18, links he shares with a small group of other headhunters.
One of the first things the police found when C18 came into existence around 92 was visiting cards from Chelsea headhunter C18. People were assaulted, very seriously assaulted. Pubs were attacked and smashed up with the occupants. Men, women and children were attacked by these gangs, and they'd leave behind a calling card that would say you've been visited by Chelsea Headhunters Combat 18. So from the very earliest days of Combat 18, the Chelsea Headhunters like Frayne and this crew were in there operating with them.
In a bar after the game, he describes a visit he and Andy Frayne made to the Nazi concentration camp at Auschwitz.
They're having a tour thing, right? And they're talking to all these Jerrys about what happened and blah, blah. There he is, Frayne. He said, we'll take a photograph, Chaz. There he is. Well, the Jerrys started going, didn't they? Fuck off, it's what I believe in. Yeah, stay there. But we had a good turnout. It wasn't quick and turn us out. The geezer, the Polish geezer starts crying about game, you know? She had a good week then. Yeah, absolutely superb. I think I'll put the final nail in the coffin when I try and get in the oven and all that.
A group of the Chelsea Headhunters, led by Frayne, paid a visit to Auschwitz concentration camp. I got a postcard from them, a picture of the camp. On the back it said, Combat 18 Headhunter Division, wish you were here. We've just dug up the bones of your grandmother and pissed all over them. And this is the mentality of these people. I mean, sheer bitter hatred. But the fact is, they do these trips. If there's a match in Warsaw, they'll make a stop off in Auschwitz. If they're in Germany, I had another card from Dachau.
Outside, tension is mounting as Danish fans start targeting Chelsea.
The thing is down there and they're going to do it.
Okay, we're going to go back to the hotel. Let's go.
I don't make it.
Fuck off!
I'm attacked by Copenhagen fans.
Jesus Christ!
The fighting continues as I search frantically for one of my colleagues.
Where's Mike? Mike! He's with us, he's with us. He just got mullered, mate.
One of the unfortunate consequences of pretending to be a football hooligan is that you become a target for the violence of other football hooligans. I've just been beaten up, kicked, punched and kicked and thrown in on the street by a bunch of football supporters from FC Copenhagen, so some of my travelling companions. I'll be leaving Copenhagen with just a few bruises, but apart from that, I'm all right.
Our trip to Copenhagen has brought me closer to Jason's inner circle and also shown me a more sinister side to his hooliganism, a side I hadn't seen before, his extreme right-wing views. For him, politics, patriotism and loyalty to the Headhunters form a dangerous mix. In Jason's hands, they add up to violence. Jason and I fly back to London. I have been blooded, and Jason is happy to tell me about his past glories.
Say now, no one on their day can take Chelsea. I've been to Millwall. Last game of the season we played, we got off Elephant and Pearl and we marched. Our snipers marched. We was 500 out. They afterwards when that's on voice. I said to him, phone me up. What's happening, Jace? And he said, none of our lads are in. I said, they are then. I said, we're walking over to Greg. I said, they're in there. He said, no, I said, they are. I said, you've got a firm in the lily pad. And I said, I'm telling you. You're trying to, it's too early, you can't have it now, you can't have it now. What do you mean too early? We're calling the shots now. We're on your manor, we're calling the shots. It's too early, so I said, it's never fucking too early. It was never too late after a game of football, is it? Going through to the ball, the 5 o'clock, around 10 o'clock at night, ain't too late, so it ain't too early. Put the phone down, it was fuming. Fuming it was. I said, they said it's too early. Come on, let's get the troops. We're there, we're there.
You staying out with us, yeah? I'll be out for a while, mate. We'll be out.
Jason isn't the only one who is beginning to reveal his world to me.
These are my good mates. I love these lot.
After several months, Reading hooligan and trainee headhunter Danny Walford begins to take me into his confidence.
You know, we got a youth firm, yeah, and you're probably the oldest.
Is there actually a youth firm?
Yeah.
You actually travel two separate firms?
No, we go together, but...
We call ourselves the Reading Youth Firm.
Oh, well, yeah.
Reading Youth?
We had about 40, 50.
Oh, wow.
We went to Oxford, yeah, there was 110 Reading went, there was about 40 or 50 youth. Yeah. And we, oh mate, we can have it, right? I'm not saying that's on Reading and I'm in it. We had Bristol City and they've got a fucking firm. And we smashed them at Paddington, 8 of us. Their top lad, yeah, he's called Shannon. Right, I smashed him with an iron bar. Right, from there, he come out, he got it from there, and there was cut down to there.
For Danny, violence is obviously the most thrilling thing in his life.
I was fucking hitting him with that, and then his mates joined in. I love it, mate, I do. I love it. Cheers, mate.
Back in Hampton Hill, I drive around in a hired Mercedes, trying to look like somebody worth knowing well. Jason thinks I've paid £40,000 for it. The reality is, I hire it for £35 on days I know Jason is going to see it. But the car has another purpose. It is rigged with secret cameras, so I can record my conversations with Jason and his friends. I take the car to watch Jason play football. When he was younger, Jason had been offered professional trials. He still believes he has some of the old magic left. But sadly, things don't always go according to plan. After the match, Jason is on his way to the Chelsea game against West Ham. I offer him a lift.
What in, brother?
Oh, I'm fucked. Good game, mate. Cheers, chaps.
Sweet.
Yeah, very. I mean, you know. Have you got any idea where you're going?
No.
Oh, don't start all that.
Do it right,
Forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air. Yeah, they Ted. That's all you're here today.
Jason is excited at the prospect of the game, but he keeps up a flow of racist abuse.
Fuck off, you black. Well, they're not a huge lot round me today. He fucking got his eyes shut, that old baboon. He thinks he's in the fucking tree. Why you kick my dog, call it fuck off. Actually, I just fucking thought. I set all three of them goals up, didn't I? I just fucking thought of that.
Yeah, the cracking game.
I make a regular appointment to watch Jason play football. On the sidelines, Jason reveals an impressive spread of tattoos. I realise now why he was so unimpressed by mine. The one on his leg reads like his motto, "When we're good, they never remember. When we're bad, they never forget." A few weeks later, and I meet Jason outside McDonald's again, this time to find out his plans for the coming match against Leicester.
I don't know. I'm in so many fucking different minds. I was going to drive up and drive home.
Yeah.
But go on a Friday, see? Now I haven't got a game on a Sunday. I might fucking... I don't know what to do. Do you know what I mean? Because I might have to light out now.
Yeah.
Might have a drink.
Well,
I know drink fucking very well.
Well, that's the thing, you know.
We're meeting early. We're meeting at Loughborough, probably Loughborough, which is one stop after Leicester. There's like, we've got 3 coaches going, we've got minibus from fucking Slough, minibus from... Yeah, we've got... It's naughty, Leicester will be naughty.
Yeah.
Leicester will be naughty, yeah.
Naughty means Jason is planning trouble.
Oh, we'll be alright, man. We'll be alright.
In order to see his planning in action, I offer him a lift in the car. But when he turns up a few days later, he brings 2 friends.
I can't say nothing. If you ask about Northern Ireland, you interject.
Right, I'm going to get out and meet.
One of them is Andy Frayne, the most dangerous of the Headhunters, and a man with strong links to both extreme loyalists and the far right. I've spent months trying to meet him. Suddenly he's in the back of my car, and it all feels very different.
Yeah.
Andy and Jason are helping coordinate 150 Chelsea hooligans as they travel up the M1 for a showdown with the Leicester fans.
Hello, Dave. It's Nightmare. All right, are you on the road yet?
The coaches start from different points and take different routes. The drivers don't know it, but this is to avoid the police.
Yeah, they got 150. Said they're at Amsterdam causing grief. I don't know what they're doing. They said there's another coach coming from Cheam. Somewhere in Cheam. Yeah. They said they're going the back door. They're going to M1 something A something 6 or something like that. Yeah. Said yeah, so I'm still sat on the coach. Said they're all out causing trouble. Them all Hempstead. So they're going. I said, how many have you got? Said, we're up to full strength. So that'll do. Beers are flowing, he said. Swinging beer, snorting Charlie and eating sandwiches. I might not even go into the game. Stick with us, kid.
I'm beginning to wonder what I've got myself into. I chew gum and smile nervously to try and cover up how uncomfortable I feel.
That's John. John, where are you? What coach you on? It's a what? I've fucking just passed you. No. I've just passed you. On the side of it. Does it say London Coaches, Ken? Right in front of them's a white transit. Are you? Listen to me. Are you in a white London coach, Kent coach? I'm just in front of you.
Frayne has brought the phone number of a Leicester contact in order to confirm the details of the fight.
Norby! It's the nightmare calling. Have you got your boys ready? We'll have starters before the coach gets
Hooligans here?
Yeah. Yes.
We'll have a one-on-one with you,
Don't Hinkley. Don't tell them where we are.
There it is there. There it's called for.
Tell them we're 40-handed. Tell them we only got 30, 40 of us. They turn up because they like to outnumber us. No, phone them now. Get them on the phone.
Yeah, when's it got purpose? Half 11.
Get the man out of bed.
Yeah.
It's not terrorising him before he's even had a cup of tea. He's shaking. He won't be able to eat to be physically sick.
We'll go to his house now.
Yeah. We're outside your front door, mate. Open the door.
Open the door. Postman's arrived. Special delivery from Mr.
A previous fight had been called off because Leicester brought too few hooligans.
I said, you'll be dead in fucking 2 seconds. I said, you've come here fucking 5-handed. I said, take me out after you. Well done. I said, we got 50 geezers here and we'll just rip your head off. You're not dealing with muppets here. And he said, oh, all right, we'll go back and tell him. I said, best you try along now, mate. He was on the phone, we're coming. Right in the rain. Only 32 of us. We had 60 arms waiting as well, and they sent their advance guard to come and get us. And then we got to one fucking traffic. I swear to God, there must have been 70-old bill. There was about 30 fucking police wagons. They just arrested every one of them. I got a pocket full of Ku Klux Klan calling cars. That didn't go down too well. Yeah. So they got us in the jail. I was getting bailed.
But the worst was yet to come. Jason reminds Andy of the day he slashed a policeman's neck.
17 of us, they reminded, yeah.
He stabbed the geezer in the face, Andy did, and he said, I'm a policeman, so I'll have some more. He had his throat proper cut.
Yeah. We was laughing at him, He said, you can't do that, I'm an off-duty policeman. I said, shut up, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Nobody can see us. His bird just run off hysterical. We was laughing then. He said, oh shit, we better get out of here.
It's no laughing matter because there was a police victim that day. The incident is recorded in the files. The policeman needed scores of stitches. Frayne has never been caught. Eventually we stopped for petrol. Having seen the organisation Andy Frayne has put into today, I begin to understand how the police can spend millions every year just keeping tabs on the hooligans. Andy Frayne is obviously impressed with the car.
Sweet motor, isn't it? Hey? That's what you call style, isn't it?
Yeah, I like a white.
It's a nice red Mercedes.
It's a nice colour, mate. It's fun.
How much is this worth?
I don't know a lot about motors.
25 grand?
Yeah, at least.
30 grand. You don't want no money for petrol either. It's nice. No,
but he's not sure about me yet.
What do you think?
No, yet. Hello, mate. All right, listen. You know that boozer? Is that in Market Harborough? Oh, Narborough, because we're at the junction now, Narborough. All right, then. OK, then.
Mariner and Frayne's coordination works, and 3 coachloads of Chelsea turn up at a village miles away from the Leicester ground. But the Leicester fans don't show up. Instead, there's a reception committee from the local police.
Who coaches, I think?
This outcome is no surprise to Jason.
They won't turn up here. Nah. There's you hear what the old Bill said to me. Haven't you phoned them up yet? I don't care what they say. Some of our phones are tapped, man. Oh, yeah, I think they fucking do their homework about you. They do their homework, man.
I say goodbye to Andy Frayne, who never had any intention of going to the match. He just came to Leicester for a fight. Jason is travelling the last miles to the ground by coach, his plans for violence temporarily foiled. I leave him knowing that his pent-up violence must find an outlet somewhere, and on the way home I listen to the radio with a sinking heart.
Bit of aggravation in the crowd during the game with coins being thrown, and I think you're about to say some aggravation afterwards.
Absolutely dreadful, David.
Tell me about it.
We were walking up the road and were charged by a group of absolute thugs.
How many of them?
There was about 20 in the group that I saw, in the first sort of wave, shouting, goading and punching and kicking indiscriminately.
How are you, mate?
Later that week, Jason tells me what happened in Leicester.
Ah, it was fucking going berserk, wasn't it? It's going berserk.
So what happened?
No, it was just fucking left, right and centre. It was just happening, you know what I mean? Just fucking in the grounds, where it normally happens in the grounds, you know what I mean? Where they like in the corner bit, you know what I mean? They stand there and where we are.
A chap had a mobile phone and he was in hysterics and laughing away, and I think he was possibly giving information to his fellow cohort that they'd had a little rumble. The child we were with was absolutely terrified. He's come home, put his hat and scarf down and told his mum that he doesn't want to go to football again.
Well, that's awful. How old is he?
He's 7.
After the violence, Jason didn't go home. Instead, he went for a drink to mark a special occasion. 5 Chelsea had been charged with this attack earlier in the year. 2 of them were expecting to be sent to prison. The attack was on some Tottenham Hotspur fans in central London. The Chelsea used iron bars to beat the opposing fans and then smashed up the pub. The people leading the charge are 2 notorious brothers, the Sims twins, vicious headhunters and close friends of Jason and Andy Frayne. Jason and Andy were there too, masked by the kiosk.
They me make the right talk, but they only nick the people that were holding tools. That's what I mean, Nightmare, Tunica Valley, like you know, a couple of top boys there didn't get nicked as well, because when it's just fucking, you know, having it.
Not only did the police fail to arrest Jason, Frayne and the others, but the twins who led the attack were sentenced to just 2.5 years. With parole, they will only serve 15 months. I'm about to discover that team loyalty isn't everything. When there is a prospect of serious violence, firms from different teams link up to fight other sets of hooligans.
Good night in the town last night.
Danny Walford has brought his Reading youth firm to travel with Millwall for a pre-arranged fight at the game against Manchester City. It seems hardcore hooligans will go anywhere there is likely to be a fight. In Manchester, the tension is mounting. There was trouble last year when City came to London, and Millwall see this as a chance for revenge. I leave Danny and his friends as they go into the ground. Danny already has his hood up to hide his face from the CCTV cameras. I can sense trouble brewing, and I don't want to be involved. My suspicions were right. It kicks off inside the ground. The violence continues after the match, and despite my best efforts, I'm still caught up in it.
Superintendent Clive Wolfendale has rung in about this Manchester City-Millwall game.
It's dangerous here, isn't it?
I've been policing games at Main Road one way or another for 22 years, and today was a sad return to some rather dismal, dimmer days of the past.
I think this is a side of football that we don't focus on enough, you know, the mindless violence and the sense that people are, you know, they're not making an appointment to go and watch a game, they're making an appointment to go and have a bundle.
That's exactly what they were doing, and you could see at the end that there were families with young children looking quite terrified. That should be what a football match is all about.
If it's not Millwall making a fuss of it, City and the raining missiles down on the police here, and we're just keeping out of the way, trying to keep safe.
It was the season's biggest outbreak of violence.
Every police station in South Manchester is full of people arrested before, during and after the game.
Some of those involved in the fighting were not arrested, as Danny told me back in London.
We had it with Man United just after you left us.
They'd also had a pre-arranged fight with the Manchester United firm.
You know railway tracks?
Yeah.
They go like that, don't they? And then they've got the bits that go like that.
Yeah.
You know the coil bits, what screw them together? I threw one of them at a Man U fan and he fucking never heard someone scream in my life.
Where hit him, mate?
For Danny, violence is a way of life.
Fucking fighting us like that, bang, through the window, fighting him. And he's fucking, that's all on camera, and I just got a t-shirt and a pair of jeans on. No hat or nothing. I'm gutted.
This time Danny's been caught on camera, but arrest and prosecution hold little fear.
I mean, why was
he gave as good as he got until I fucking lashed him round the head with it a few times. It snapped, right? It was about that long, and it had a big paddle bit on the end, and I fucking hit him about 3 times, and it snapped every time I hit him. So I got the paddle bit up, and I was fucking hitting him with that. And
Danny sees prison as a rite of passage, and he thinks his good friend Andy Frayne will look after him.
I don't care, who gives a fuck? It's good to get a bit of time under your belt anyway.
It's good to get a bit of time.
Frayne, he'll look after me anyway. He knows so many people.
Nightmare! He's done time?
Has he done time? He's done about 10 years altogether.
Frayne was telling us about when he was last in, they put him on this, anger management course.
That's what they want me to go on.
No! Who wants you to go on that, mate?
Anger management course and a drinking course, you know.
Who said that?
Alcoholics, fucking... I ain't an alcoholic, though. Frayne, he'll look after me anyway.
Instead of those kids finding decent role models, the Andy Fraynes of this world become their role models. And that's why it's very important that they're removed from society, because that's a cancer that spreads.
Andy Frayne seems to have almost a mythical status among the hooligans. He's at the centre of the most chilling moments of my year undercover as a hooligan. This march commemorates Bloody Sunday, the day 27 years ago when 14 Catholics were shot dead in Northern Ireland. But these far-right supporters will do anything they can to disrupt the march. The police are out in force, trying to protect the marchers. They stop and search other far-right thugs as they arrive. That includes Andy Frayne, Jason Mariner, and me. I've arranged to meet Jason in a pub nearby, where he has already linked up with the leaders of the far-right faction, Combat 18. Jason's been planning to attack this march with them for months. I notice he's drinking mineral water.
What's this water?
I don't give a fuck, that's ammunition, mate. Yeah. Bottle's a bottle, mate, I don't give a fuck as long as it's one of them.
As the marchers hand in a petition to Downing Street, the extremists I'm with are planning to pounce. Leading the attack is Andy Frayne. In the front line, alongside the leader of Combat 18, is Jason. I have previously worked as a reporter covering demonstrations like this. Now I am caught up in the middle instead. I'm surrounded by the 3 people I'd spent a year befriending: Andy Frayne, Danny Walford, and Jason Mariner. They'd all come together at the heart of this small gang of far-right extremists.
They see themselves as some kind of super patriots. The 3 things, the football, the loyalism, the Nazism, all come together, and there you find Mr. Frayne at the heart of it.
I was about to join the hooligans in the police files. I knew they would think of this day as a great success and would already be planning their next attack. But I was more than glad to be turning my back on the thugs with a thirst for violence. There were many more moments that I recorded in my year as a hooligan. I went anywhere I thought the Headhunters might be. To Loyalist marches. To United for a fight that never happened. To Derby in the rain. Even to Mallorca when Jason failed to turn up, along with the other serious hooligans. Since I met Andy Frame, he's been in prison for another assault on a policeman. He's now free. His confession in my car that his attempt to kill an off-duty policeman is much more serious, and will be passing the details on to the police. Scotland Yard's anti-fascist unit are investigating his far-right connections. Danny, much to his own surprise, has been acquitted of his attack with the oar. Jason continues to evade the police and has renewed his season ticket to Chelsea. It took a year of my life to get this shocking admission from Andy Frame, proof of the extraordinary difficulties the police and the judiciary face in bringing the hooligans to justice. And my time with Andy and Jason revealed to me a level of organisation and a commitment to violence that will challenge even the most hard-hitting government policy. A year on, and I'm left with a real sense that the answer to managing hooliganism is something much more complicated than just putting a lid on the violence. Danny summed up his hooliganism on his way to a court appearance.
I think going to football fighting is illegal. I don't think you can just stop.
As England seeks to host the 2006 World Cup, is the government prepared to confront the question of why this sickness is spreading among so many young men in our society, and how we can treat the cause rather than just the symptoms? Jason had taken me to the heart of the Headhunters, and after a year undercover, at last I was able to leave his world behind.